My name is Zachary Abshire. I'm a College of Education student here at GCU. I'm a secondary history major. I want to teach high school social studies in the state of Texas. Today we're discussing the dispositions of teachers and our strengths and weaknesses within those dispositions. I think it's really important to look at these dispositions individually and take stock of where do I fit in as a teacher. This is something I never thought I would be doing as pursuing is teaching. I never thought that would be me. So it's really interesting to see what I think my strengths and weaknesses are when I've never been in a classroom. I've been a trainer, I've been an educator, but I'm trying to bring those skills as a trainer from my other field of work was the military. And I think that's where we start off with my strengths is kind of my honesty and my fairness. I'm very direct. I'm going to tell you who I am, how it is, and this is how it's going to be. But with that honesty comes fairness. I'm not gonna treat one kid one way and one kid another way. No, everybody's gonna be treated the same way in my class. I'm gonna be straight up with everyone in my class. I'm gonna be straightforward with everyone in my class. And I think my main strength is my curiosity. I want to get to know you. I want to learn how you tick. I want to learn how you live. I want to learn what makes you thrive as a student because I think that's what history is. History, you can drill down so far on the levels of what happened, why it happened, who it happened to, when did it happen, what were the repercussions of that happening, and what was happening on the other side. History is just one of those subjects where curiosity, you have to have it or you're not going to succeed, I believe. Now, my weaknesses, probably reflection. I don't reflect on my strength, on how I did. I don't sit back and think, man, I did great that week, man, I did bad that week. This is where I could improve. I really think that's probably where I'm the weakest at. And then my compassion. It's not that I don't care, it's the fact that sometimes I overlook the fact that people have feelings and I'm more about the facts. I want to get to know you because I want to know how you tick, but my compassion for your feelings is not very strong. I'm not one of those people that tends to care about that. But as a teacher, I know I'm going to have to cultivate that in my classroom. And I think improving that comes with getting to know my students. If I get to know my students on a semi-personal basis, because I have to remain professional in the class, I can't just be friends with them. But if I get to know my students on a semi-professional relationship and semi-personal way, I think my compassion for my students will grow. And that leads into what I think how teachers should be display professional qualities. Professionalism is key. Keeping your relationship separate from students. Work is work. Home is home. You are not their friends. Two, I think you are a resource for those students. That's who you are. You are a servant to those students. They are not there to serve you. You are there to serve them. And you are there to be a guide for them, whether they know it or not. And I think to display that, we have to have empathy. We have to have compassion. We have to have all those dispositions that are listed. Um, and I think the one that struck me the most is high expectations. We have to have high expectations of our students, or they are not going to achieve. And I think that a teacher has to display those expectations clearly. I think they have to communicate clearly, and I think they have to be professional because you are the example of what those students are looking up to, whether they know it or not. And whether they want to achieve that is up to them. But you still need to be the example through your speech, your acts, your service, and the way you dress and the way you conduct yourself. That's a little bit about me and what I think about dispositions in education. Thank you so much for your time.